that I brought tonight. But basically, the post office has been a cash cow for the government for decades, not the other way around. They overcharged the post office. The post office had the audit themselves. They hired an independent agent that came and they studied it and said, look at this. You've been overpaying into the civil service retirement system for decades at a tune of about $75 billion. Not $1 million, $75 billion has gone from the Postal Service into the Treasury. Okay? Secondly, in 2006, they passed a law that the Postal Service would now have to, now get this one, fully pre-fund future retirees' health benefits for the next 75 years and do it within 10 years. No other government agency, no corporation, no organization is mandated by law to do that. So that meant for the post office, besides the billions that they paid out over decades, now every September 30th they had to write a check for $5.5 billion before they sold one stamp or money order. So in 2008, when they said the post office lost $2.8 billion, yes, they did, because they had to give the government $5.6 billion to get this, pay for the health benefits of people who haven't even been born yet. How do you even know they're going to work for the post office? How many employees of the Postal Service are going to have in 75 years? No one can tell you, but we're going to pay for the health benefits of those people who haven't even been born yet. That's part of the way they rip the money off from the Postal Service. So you could blame management and say, how did you allow this to happen? But management has been having to deal with this shortfall. Shortfall that was manufactured by Congress. It had nothing to do with email. They lied to you. The biggest year in the history of the 236-year history of the Postal Service in volume was 2006, followed by 2005 and 2007. 3 years well into the era of the internet and email. What happened was 2008 when the economy went in the dump. And all of a sudden, there wasn't money to be paying for people's needs and also to benefit the rich. The Postmaster of the United States, Patrick R. Donahoe, after my local union called for him to resign, and if not, he would resign, that he should be fired by the Postal Board of Governors, decided he should go around and talk to some people, postal workers. So he came to Morgan Station where I worked. And I was able to get up there and ask him the question, because he was saying that this legislation that was going to move money from that fund to cover this fund so that the Postal Service wouldn't have to cut jobs and close all these facilities, the money were there. The Postmaster of the United States, in my question, said to me, well, the money's gone. And I said, well, if the money's gone, shouldn't we find out who did what? Who was responsible for this missing money that the Postal Service gave in, they thought? Where is that money now? His response to me was, I want to be positive and look towards the future. That was the answer I got from the Postmaster when I said, well, aren't you angry about the fact that they took $75 billion from you? And he said, well, it's gone. Well, the current president's predecessor ran 2 wars off budget. You hear that? What does that mean? There was no money budgeted to carry out those wars, so they had to get the money from somewhere. And that's why they're telling you now that Stadium Station has to close, University Heights Station has to close, and they're not even telling you that that breaks the law. Here's the law. This is according to U.S. Code 39. Section 101, Postal Policy. That's the law that's governing everybody right now. No small post office shall be closed solely for operating at a deficit, it being the specific intent of the Congress that effective postal service be ensured to residents of both urban and rural communities. That's the law. They have to change this law to get their program through now. That's the point. the law says this post office, even if it was losing money, which it's not, should stay open. The law says that people, urban people, people in rural communities, because it's not just Stadium Post Office they want to close. There's 34 post offices in New York City, 17 in the Bronx. 3,700 national. That's 3,700 communities where they have seniors, and they have disabled people, and they have poor people, and they have small business people who can't go anywhere. They can't afford the alternatives. And what's taking place is they're saying to those people, you have to cut out your service. Now they've come up with this really, it says, well, you may have to wait longer for the mail, first-class mail to be delivered. It's not 2-day, 3-day service, maybe like next week. So are you going to pay your bills by, how are you going to pay your bills? Earlier than you have to, because you're worried about getting it? What about small businesses? If one of their people mails them a check, you know, well, if they miss it, they mail it on Wednesday and it takes 3 more days, then you won't get that check till Monday. That's regular first-class mail. They're trying to destroy the service that they've been sworn to give to the American people. And it's not happening because it's a manufactured crisis. So what we really have to think about for the people in the communities and the people who work in the post offices, businesses that use the post office, we have to come together and realize that it's a scam they're running. It's a game. Each community is fighting. You're coming in tonight basically trying to say to them, is keep Stadium Post Office open and we'll give up University and that'll be okay. But what about the people just like you in University and the people just like you in Co-op City and the people in Hunts Point? And they're hearing it. The money that they spent to build that post office in Hunts Point, you know, and now they're going to close it down. The need is as great as ever. And they did a lousy job of publicizing. We decided we had to help them get the word out about these hearings, because they're doing a horrible job. So that's why, you know, we had Telemundo and Fox 5, and there was on the radio today at a couple of stations that interviewed us, and they called up. We're going to have someone from the community, the president of my union, will take the show tomorrow. That'll be on Channel 7 on Sunday to talk about this. Because people who are in the business of communication, they've done a lousy job communicating to their customers that there's a meeting here tonight, and that there's a meeting for Botanic Garden Station, and there's a meeting for Pleasant Point. You know, they decided, since you know, I'm so entertaining at these meetings, and they enjoy my company, and now they're finally telling the union when the meetings are taking place so we can organize. We will apologize for being a little late because Telemundo was having problems with their live broadcast of our demonstration out here to save Stadium Station and to save the 3,700 post offices around the country that the people here who live here deserve and need to keep, because you know, mismanagement is not an excuse. Deficits aren't an excuse. What they need to do is tell the truth, work with the communities, to make the post office better to serve the needs of the communities, and then, as the electorate, we'll make sure our elected officials, all the elected officials who are here tonight, please raise your hand.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
I'm sorry, you know, I'm a legislative and political director, but that doesn't mean I have to kiss their ass. I tell them all that this is taking place. I got a call on Monday from Congressman Serrano's office, asking me about the hearing the next day. I said, no, it's tonight. It's University Station tonight. And Thursday, in the same place in Bronx, GPO, is going to be Stadium Station. Oh, thank you very much. You will, blah, blah, blah. But they're not here because you know, the word has gone down. We're going to make a deal to bail out the post office for a few years or whatever. Then we'll let it fail so that it can be privatized. And everybody's in it. Everybody's in it except the people who depend upon the post office. And we have to now stand up and be heard. You know, write letters to the local paper, go on talk radio. Most importantly, talk to your friends and neighbors and relatives. I don't know if they made it, you know, some young people, some website put up the fact that we were having this meeting, and I heard from a postal worker, you know, hire who was organized St. John's in New York, and maybe you should get him to come and see how we do things in New York. Because this is a national crisis for a national institution. And I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I admire you. The people, I'm telling you, everybody touches my heart to see the people, because it's just like brothers and sisters of ours in every community. In every community. Co-op City is the largest naturally occurring retirement community in the United States. 55,000 people live there, mostly seniors, served by 2 post offices, and they want to close them both. Roosevelt Island, for some of us who are old enough to know, was once Welfare Island, where they had sanitariums and rehab places and hospitals. That was before the co-ops were built for the people from the UN, but there's still an enormous population on Roosevelt Island of seniors and disabled people. They come out to their rallies and it breaks your heart. Roosevelt Island is an island. People have to leave the island to go to the post office to check on their medication. So I think it's the same story, but each story is unique, just like each individual person is unique. The young kid who came at the college station thing, talking to his grandmother, go to the post office for him. And every community, people are telling their stories. So I want to thank you. I learn from you every time. Every one of these there are hearings. It's a shame that there's a hearing. Yeah. It shouldn't be. But if it's okay, I'll keep one for myself.
Where's the arrest? Who's going to arrest these people for the mismanagement of that money? I don't see any prosecutions going on. Stealing $75 billion? Hey, come on.
Excuse me, are there any more questions or comments? Please stand on the side.
I think it's imperative after listening to this. I mean, first of all, I want to thank you because I learned so much.
Yeah.
I felt like I was educated tonight. Because all I hear about is the post office is losing money, so you always ask them how losing money. It's obvious they haven't been losing money. They've been making money. And you know, that's with old school tactics. But I've said here before that the post office can make also still more money. Because I live right across the street. I come here for everything. I was just here today because I had to send a registered letter. You can't do that from a bodega. You can't do that from a pharmacy. I had to send a letter to make sure that this court knew that I was sending this report that I did not get this order to go to court. So I had to prove to them that I'm sending this letter out. I can't do that from